Jennifer Talley goes about the business of brewing beer here at Squatter's Pub almost every day. She calls it an art and a science. What she won't tell you is that it's a heck of a lot of work, especially for a petite woman who does it all on her own.
I started making beer in my kitchen. My first batch, I think it was called Toad Spit Stout. 13 years later, here I am. This is the glamorous part of brewing. Hand scrubbing your mash tun after a big brew day.
That brew day for the state's only woman behind the brewing wheel begins at 11.
It is tougher than it looks. Kind of melt your makeup.
Okay.
Brewing beer is physical labor.
I have 2 hydrometers.
It's scientific and takes precise timing. But bottom line, this bold, gold-looking alcoholic beverage is 5 things.
Malted barley, hops, water, and yeast. I have to pull the slot and hopefully I won't hit you in the face.
Jenny starts by milling the grains, malt and barley, and releasing them into this big cooker called a mash tun. She boils it till it looks like oatmeal, then adds these flours called hops. They give you bitterness and aroma in beer. Sugar is extracted from the mixture.
So the sugar is coming out now?
Yes, the sugar's coming out.
The sugar water that's filling this kettle is now called wort. It's eventually transferred to another big vat where the fermentation process begins. The sugar turns to alcohol.
Well, let's see here. 8.35 minus 0.15, so 8.3, 8.2. No, it's about 1/3 done.
And 20 days later, you've got beer.
We did not mess it up. Actually, this batch tastes absolutely fabulous.
Our beer is called Immigration Amber Ale, but this brewer's day isn't done with a taste of her ale. There's still work to do.
So nobody does the cleanup for you?
No one does the cleanup for me. You're looking at a one-woman show here.
The cooked leftover grain is set out and hauled away as cattle feed. Back at the bar, we asked Jennifer just how much beer she's brewed in 13 years of work here.
80,000 pitchers. Now, I've done this for 13 years.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Oh, wow. So I have made over 1 million pitchers of beer.
And hearing that, along with Jennifer's knowledge of beer, Fox 13 photographer and beer aficionado himself, Mike Riedel, had one more question.
Will you marry me?
All kidding aside, Jennifer takes her job very seriously.
My tagline that I always usually say to people is, may your next batch be your best. Because your next batch is always in front of you.
Every batch that Jennifer brews produces about 280 gallons of beer. That'll last about 2 weeks here. Now, when she's not brewing, you might catch her concocting something called a stout beer float. That's right, it's a glass with beer and ice cream. Now, coming up, some strange things you never knew about beer. In Salt Lake City, Sandy Reescraft, Fox 13 News, Utah.